One man holds a bridge while Rome cuts it down behind him. 508 BC. The Tiber. Horatius stands at the far end and waits for the army. This is Roman nights. We go back. We listen. We stay a while. The year before the river. Before the fire. The forum is full at dawn. 1. The word that is now forbidden. The forum is full at dawn. It has not been full like this since the day they carried a dead woman through it. Brutus stands where the body had lain. He is not a fool now. The city knows this. They watched the costume come off him a year ago, and they have not stopped watching since. He is going to make them swear. Rome has a new shape and no name for it yet. There is no king. That is the easy part. The hard part is what stands in the empty space. 2 men, not one. Each holds the power a king held. Each can stop the other. They keep it for a year, then they hand it on. The Romans call them consuls. The word is new in their mouths. The king had owned the power. The consuls only borrow it. The fasces, the bundle of rods carried before them. The axe bound inside the rods. The right to scourge and to kill. All of it real. All of it returned at year's end. Like a tool borrowed from a neighbor. That is the trick of it. The power did not get smaller. It got a clock. Brutus thought of this. A king ruled until he died, or until someone made him die. A consul rules until the harvest comes twice. Then he is a citizen again, like the man who once cut his wheat beside him. It is a clever thing. It is also a fragile thing. The other consul stands a little apart. His name is Collatinus. He helped end the king. He held the same knife and swore the same oath, in the same dark room, over the same dead woman. No one has more right to stand here than he does. But his full name is Tarquinius Collatinus. He shares it with the man they just threw out. He cannot help that. A name is the one thing a man does not choose and cannot put down. The crowd does not look at him with hate. It is worse than that. They look at him the way you look at a crack in a wall you have just rebuilt. Not yet, but everyone has seen what cracks do. Brutus has noticed it too. He says nothing this morning. There will be a morning for that. There always is. The crowd waits. Brutus looks at them. He does not give a speech. He has watched what speeches do. He saw a body turn a city in a single afternoon. He knows that words can be a kind of fire, and he does not want fire this morning. He wants something colder. He wants a chain. So he asks them to swear. He asks them to swear that they will never again let any man be king in Rome. Not him, not his sons, not the best man among them on the best day of his life. No one. The word is forbidden now. Rex, king. The most dangerous word a Roman can say. It is a strange oath when you stand inside it. They are not swearing to do a thing. They are swearing never to allow a thing, forever, on behalf of people who are not born yet. A man can keep a promise about his own conduct. This is a promise about the conduct of a city that will outlive every mouth now saying it. They are binding their grandchildren in the cold, with breath, on a winter morning. None of them quite understands that this is what they are doing. They only understand that the alternative was a man who walked his chariot over his own father's body, and that they have just been free of him for a year, and that the freedom tastes like something they will not give back. The crowd swears. Thousands of voices not quite together, which is somehow worse than together. It rolls across the forum like water finding its level. Brutus listens to it. He has heard a crowd before. He heard one a year ago in this same square. He held up a knife still wet and turned a funeral into a revolution. That crowd was hot. This one is cold, and the cold one frightens him more. A hot crowd does a thing and goes home. A cold one has decided something it intends to keep. He wanted the cold one. He built the whole morning to get it. It is still a thing to stand inside, the sound of a city promising itself something it cannot take back. He has built a thing out of a single word. Residential publica, the public thing, the thing that belongs to everyone and therefore to no one. It is the most beautiful idea he has ever had. It is also completely untested. Nothing has come against it yet. A wall is only a wall when something pushes on it. He does not say this. He lets them swear. There is a thing Brutus carries with him still. A staff of cornel wood, plain on the outside, scarred from the road. He took it once to a god at Delphi, hollowed out, with gold poured into the empty center. Wood on the surface, gold underneath. He gave the god his true self inside a fool's shell. The god kept the secret. So did he. He has stopped carrying the gold. But he has not stopped being two things at once. The man on the steps and the man inside him are still not the same man. He is not sure they ever will be. The morning is cold. The forum smells of old smoke and the river, the way it always does in winter. The breath of the crowd hangs over them like a second roof. Somewhere a child is crying and being hushed. The world does not stop for oaths. It only listens for a moment, then goes on. Brutus will not live to see the year out. He does not know this. Neither does Rome. When the swearing is done, the crowd breaks apart slowly. They do not cheer. There is nothing to cheer. They have not won anything. They have only promised something, and a promise is a debt that has not come due. Brutus stays on the steps a while. A free city. He keeps the words in his mouth like a stone he is not sure he can swallow. He has freed them from a king. He has not yet freed them from the thing that makes kings. That part he cannot reach. That part lives inside the men who just swore. 2 of them are his sons. He does not know this yet on the steps in the cold. He will. 2. The wrong name. The city is free now. It does not feel calm. It feels like a man who has stopped running and cannot stop breathing hard. Freedom, it turns out, is loud. People say things in the forum they would have died for saying a year ago. They say them just to feel them in their mouths. They watch each other say them. They are learning a new thing, and the new thing is suspicion. Every name gets weighed now. Whose father served the king. Whose house took the king's gifts. Who smiled too long at the wrong table. The city is checking itself for the disease it just cut out. This is the thing freedom does that no one warns you about. Under a king, there was one man to fear. You knew his name. You knew the rules of fearing him. Now there is no king, so the fear has nowhere to point. And a fear with nowhere to point does not go away. It spreads out. It lands on everyone a little. A city that has just learned it can throw out the most powerful man alive has learned something else too. No one is safe. Not even the men who did the throwing. That knowledge does not make a city calm. It makes a city watchful. And a watchful city is always looking for the next name to be afraid of. And there is a name no one can put down. Collatinus carries it. He cannot help it. It is his. Tarquinius Collatinus, cousin to the man they threw out the gate. Lord of the town where the lamp burned and the knife came. He stood in that dark room. He swore the first oath over his own dead wife. It does not matter. In the streets they have started to say it quietly. Tarquinius is consul. We threw out one and kept another. We changed the man and not the name. The word rex is forbidden. But the name that once wore it still walks the forum with the axes carried before it. Brutus hears it before Collatinus does. He always hears things first. He spent years pretending to be deaf. A man who pretends to be deaf learns to listen better than anyone. He goes to Collatinus at his house. Not in the forum. This is not a thing you do in front of the city. Lucretius' father is there too. Furious Lucretius. The old man's face has not unset since the morning his daughter sent for him. Grief does that. It freezes the face in the shape it had at the worst moment. Then the years cannot quite thaw it. He has said almost nothing since that morning. He helped throw out a king for what was done to his daughter. The throwing out worked. The king is gone, and his daughter is still gone too. No amount of revolution gives a man back a child. He sits in rooms where great things are decided. He is treated with the gentleness people reserve for the badly wounded. He hates it and he needs it, both. He does not have the strength left to choose between them. The three of them sit. There is wine no one drinks. Brutus does not soften it. Softening is its own kind of lie, and he is done with lies. He used to be made of them. He tells Collatinus what the city is saying. Collatinus knows. Of course he knows. He has heard it through walls. He has heard it stop when he enters a room, which is louder than hearing it. I did nothing, he says. I know, Brutus says. That is not the question, Brutus says. The question is whether the city can sleep with that name still in it. And the city has answered, not with a vote, with a feeling. And a city's feeling is the most dangerous law there is. No one wrote it and no one can repeal it. He asks his friend to lay down the office, to take his property, to leave Rome and live somewhere the name means nothing. Collatinus does not shout. The old man, Lucretia's father, asks him to do it. Gently, for the city his daughter died to free. That is the argument that lands. It is the only one that could. So Collatinus agrees. He had wanted none of this. He had a wife, a house, a quiet town an hour from the city. He helped end a tyranny over a woman's honor, his own woman, his own honor. And now he is being sent away, over a name he did not choose, and a crime he did not commit. He told himself it was for the city. Men always tell themselves that. It is usually even true. He gathers what is his. They let him keep everything. They are careful about that, the way you are careful with a man you have wronged but cannot keep. He takes his wagons and his household out the gate he helped open. The road south is empty in the early light. Dust still cold from the night. The river behind him getting smaller. The walls of the city he built getting lower against the hills, until they are just a line, and then a memory of a line. He does not look back more than once. There is nothing back there that is his anymore. Even his name is not really his. It belongs to the wrong man now. The way a coat left at someone's house slowly becomes theirs. Publius Valerius takes the empty chair. The city likes him. He will go on liking the city back so plainly that they will give him a second name for it. Publicola, friend of the people. He has not earned it yet. He will. Brutus watches the wagons go. He has now sent away the only other man who was in the room that night, the only one who shared the weight of it. He is the founder, and the founder is more alone than he was an hour ago. The thing about building a new world is that you cannot build it with anyone from the old one. Eventually you are standing on it by yourself. He does not say this either. A free city has begun to cost something. So far it has cost a guilty king and an innocent friend. Brutus has noticed that the bill always seems to arrive in that order. The guilty first to make you brave. The innocent after to see if you meant it. 3. A slave at the door. The king sends men, not soldiers. He is not stupid. He knows the gate is shut to an army. He sends words instead. The story they carry is reasonable. The king wants only what is his. His gold, his furniture, his household goods, left behind in the rush of one bad night. Surely a free city does not need to keep a man's chairs. The Senate argues it for days. Some say give it back. A republic should not look like a thief. Others say keep it. You do not hand a wolf its teeth and call it manners. But the chairs are not the point. The chairs were never the point. The envoys stay in the city while the Senate talks. They eat at good tables. They listen, and they find what the king sent them to find. There are young men in Rome who are not happy. This is the thing the founders did not plan for. They built the republic to be fair, and fair is a poor trade for some men. Under a king there were favorites. A favorite eats first. A favorite is forgiven things. The young nobles who had been favorites are now simply citizens, equal to a tanner, equal to a man who smells of the river. Equal is a demotion if you were used to more. Liberty divided the city's honor by the number of its citizens. To most men that was a gift. To a few it was a robbery. They had not lost their freedom. They had lost their advantage. And a man will burn down a fair house to get his unfair share back. The envoys feed this quietly. A word at one table, a sigh at another. The king misses you. The king remembers his friends. The king would not forget what he owes when he comes home. A plot grows the way damp grows. You do not see it start. You only notice the wall has gone soft. Among the plotters are two young men named Vitellii, kin to the consul Collatinus, who is already gone. And among them, sitting at the same table, drinking the same wine, are two more, Titus and Tiberius, the sons of Brutus. The founder of the Republic has two sons. The sons grew up the children of a man pretending to be a fool. They learned the old world before they learned the new one. They remember the king's table better than they understand their father's idea. An idea is a thin thing to a young man. A good seat at a feast is not. So they sign on. It does not happen all at once. It starts as complaint, which is harmless, which everyone does. Then the complaint finds other complaints at the same tables on the same nights. Then someone says the thing out loud that the others were only thinking. And no one stops him. And the not stopping is the first real step. The envoys are careful to be nearby when the complaints start finding each other. They do not push. They only make sure there is a direction to push toward when the young men are ready to push. By the time anyone in the group could name what they are doing, they are already doing it. And the naming would only make it harder to keep doing. So no one names it. And then they make the mistake that ends them. The plot needs proof of loyalty to send back to the king. Words spoken in a room can be denied. The plotters decide to put it in writing. Letters to the king. Sealed. Signed. They write their own names down. It is the kind of thing that seems safe in a warm room late with friends with wine. Everyone is brave at that table. The paper feels like a promise among brothers. It is not. It is a list. It is the most patient kind of evidence there is. It does not change its story. It does not lose its nerve. The meeting is in a private house. The doors are closed. The wine is poured by slaves because that is who pours wine. A man does not see a slave, no more than he sees the table holding up the cup. But the slave hears. His name is Vindicius. He is at the wall where slaves stand being furniture. He hears the names. He hears the word king. He hears them speak of letters and seals. He understands slowly and then all at once. He is standing inside the only thing that matters in Rome right now. And no one in the room knows he is a person. The slave at the wall does not move. His face does not change. He has spent his life keeping his face from changing. But something has happened behind it. He is holding a weight now that no one handed him. He did not ask for it. It chose him because he was the one nobody watched. He has a choice, and it is a terrible one. If he says nothing, he is safe. Tomorrow he pours wine and forgets, the way you forget anything you are not allowed to have an opinion about. No one will ever know what he heard. Safety is the easy door, and it is wide open. It leads exactly nowhere, which is where his whole life has led so far. If he speaks, he gambles everything. A slave who accuses noble sons. A slave who names the founder's own children. If they are believed, he has saved the Republic. If they are not, he is a dead man before sundown, and slowly. He waits until the house is asleep. That is its own kind of courage that no one will ever record. The waiting, lying still in the dark of the slave's quarters. The thing he heard sitting in his chest like a stone, knowing that with every hour the letters get closer to the king and harder to catch. He could still choose nothing. The choice stays open all night, which is the cruelty of it. A brave act done in one hot second is easy. Compared to a brave act, a man has to keep choosing breath after breath. While his body begs him to roll over and go to sleep and be safe and be nobody, he gets up before light. He goes to the consuls. He does not go to a magistrate or a friend. He goes to the top because halfway is the most dangerous place to stand in a thing like this. He tells Brutus and Valerius what he heard. The names, the letters, the house. They do not waste time. They go for the letters before the ink can be denied. The house is taken. The plotters are seized. And there, real and quiet and impossible to argue with, are the letters. Sealed, signed. The names are read out one by one. Among them, in their own hand, are the names of the consul's 2 sons. There is a word that will come from this slave's deed. Years from now, a master will free a slave. He will lay a rod on the man's head and speak a word. The word will mean the rod that strikes the chains off. Vindicta. It comes from a slave who chose the harder door, on a night when no one was watching him. He does not know that yet. Tonight he only knows the letters are out of his hands. The names are spoken, and there is no taking the night back. Neither does Brutus. For the father on the platform, the forum fills before the sun is fully up. Word travels in a city this size. It travels faster when the word is the consul's own sons. A platform stands at the front. A bench on it for the 2 consuls. A space below for the prisoners. The lictors wait to one side. They carry the rods and the axe. They are the hands that do what the consul's mouth decides. This morning they will be very busy. Brutus comes to the platform. He sits. He does not look at the place where the prisoners will stand. Not yet. The crowd is enormous and almost silent. A crowd this size is never silent. It is silent now because no one knows what they are about to watch, and everyone suspects. The prisoners are brought. The Vitellii first, then the Aquilii, then the others, and then, in the same rope, dressed the same, treated exactly the same, 2 more. Titus and Tiberius. They are young. That is the first thing the crowd sees. Younger than the cause they signed their names to. Young enough that some in the crowd remember them as boys in the street. The fool's sons. The family no one envied. Now they stand bound in the forum with a noose of evidence around all their names. The trial is short. It does not need to be long. The letters do the talking. Sealed. Signed. The clerk reads the names off the paper. Then he reads them off the prisoners. They match. There is nothing to argue about. A man can deny words. A man cannot deny his own hand on a seal he chose to press. This is where it would have been easy with anyone else's sons. With anyone else's sons, it is a procedure. The law is clear. The penalty is clear. A magistrate reads it out. The lictors do their work. And the city goes home harder and safer. It happens. It is not even rare. But these are his sons. And every person in that forum knows it and is watching one face to see what it does. They are not really watching the prisoners. They are watching the father. Brutus sits very still. He has spent his whole life keeping his face from telling the truth. He was a fool for 30 years because the fool's face kept him alive. He is the most practiced man in Rome at not being read. And this morning, for the first time, the skill is not enough. Something is getting through. It is in the hands. The face holds. The hands do not entirely. They are folded, and they are folded too carefully, the way you hold something that wants to shake. The sentence is the same for all of them. There is no smaller sentence for sons. The other consul, Valerius, sits beside him. The other prisoners are also someone's sons. But only one man on that bench is about to lose his own. And the whole weight of the morning has slid to his end of the platform without anyone moving an inch. The order has to be spoken, out loud, by a consul. That is how the law works. The law is not a feeling. It is a sentence, said by a mouth in front of witnesses. Brutus could let Valerius say it. No one would blame him. It would be a mercy, and a small one, and entirely allowed. He does not. He says it himself. He uses the same words he would use for any man. He does not change them for being a father. He does not add anything or take anything away, or let his voice do the thing voices want to do. He gives the order in the flat tone of a man reading a law. That flat tone is the only thing that can save the law now. If he softens it for his sons, he has unmade everything. He has made the republic a thing of moods and exceptions. He has made it a small king hiding inside a fair word. So he keeps his voice level. Costs him something no one will ever be able to weigh. The lictors move. There is a pause first. There is always a pause. The lictors are men. Even men whose work is this do not begin it the instant the word is spoken. One of them looks, for half a second, at the consul on the bench. The way you look at a man to be sure he meant a thing this large. Brutus does not give him the half-second back. He looks straight ahead. The lictor turns to the rope. The forum holds its breath in a way a crowd this size should not be able to. Thousands of people, and the loudest sound is the river, far off, not caring. Someone in the press is weeping already, quietly, before anything has happened, because they can see what is about to. A father near the front stands with his own boy beside him. He puts a hand on the back of the boy's neck without seeming to know he has done it. The thing is done in the body, and the body is where the truth of it lives. They strip the young men first. The rods come out. This is the part Rome does not soften, even for the well-born. The law is the same in the back as in the front. The first blow lands. The sound of it is small and wet and carries further than it should across a silent forum. Then the next. Then there is no counting them. The sons cry out. Of course they do. The body cries out. It does not care whose son you are or what idea your father built. The body knows only that it is being opened, and it says so. The crowd hears it. The father hears it. He does not move. His face is not made of stone. That is the thing the crowd will carry home and tell their children. The father's face is not stone. It shows the whole of it. Every blow lands on it as surely as on the backs below. He is not pretending it does not hurt. He is past pretending. The man who hid behind a face for 30 years is sitting here with no costume left. He is letting a whole city watch the worst thing that will ever happen to him. And it is happening on his own order. But he does not look away. That is the entire act. That is the thing he has decided. He will feel all of it. He will not hide 1 second of it. And he will not, for 1 second, turn his head. Because the city is watching, and the moment the father looks away, the law looks away. If he cannot bear to see his own sons pay, then the law is only for other men's sons. Every powerful father in Rome would learn the lesson in an afternoon. The republic would die at the very first family that mattered. And his is the first family that matters. It has to be his, watched all the way to the end, or it is no law at all. So he watches. The rods stop. There is a silence that is worse than the sound was. The axe is next. The young men are bent forward. The crowd is so quiet now that the small sounds carry. The shuffle of a lictor's feet finding the right stance. A bird somewhere not knowing. The father's hands still folded, still too careful. The axe falls, twice, quickly and without a story attached to it. There is no last word. There is no son turning to find his father's eyes. The accounts that come down do not give them a speech. This telling will not invent one. The silence is the truer thing. Two heads, the same morning, the same platform, the same order in the same flat voice that any other trader would have received. Then it is over. Brutus is still sitting. The forum does not make a sound. There is a kind of silence that comes after a thing like this that is not the absence of noise. It is a presence. It sits on the whole square. The man who was weeping has stopped. The father with his hand on his boy's neck has not moved it. The bodies are taken away. The stones are cleaned or they are not. Either way, the morning has changed color for everyone standing in it. He does not stand and make a speech. He does not explain himself to the crowd. The crowd does not need it. They have seen the only argument that mattered, and it was made with a face that did not turn away. There is a word for a man who orders the death of his own sons. There is another word for a man who founds a free city. He was both this morning on the same platform in the same hour. He did not choose between the words. He did not get to. The city chose for him a year ago, on a different morning, when it let a fool become a founder. This is the bill for that morning. It has come due in full. He is paying it himself in front of everyone, in coin no one else could spend. There is one more thing on the platform. The slave, Vindicius, the man who heard the names at the wall and chose the harder door. He is brought forward. He does not know what is about to happen to him. A slave who accused noble sons could just as easily be the next one bound. He has spent the morning learning what the law does to traitors. He carries no name and no protection. His whole life has taught him that men like him are the ones things happen to. Instead, they free him. The rod is laid on his head. The word is spoken, the word that will outlive everyone in the forum. He is a freedman now. He has a name that is his own. He gets land. He gets money. He gets the one thing he has never had, which is a self that belongs to him. On the same platform, in the same hour, a man loses his sons and a man gains his freedom. The morning gives and the morning takes, and it does both with the same indifferent light. The slave who was nobody walks down off the platform a citizen. The founder who is now everybody sits above, having become, in one morning, the loneliest man in Rome. He gets up, eventually. He has a republic to run. There is no day off for this. The new world he built does not pause its first year to let its founder grieve. Cannot. That is the thing he made it for. He walks down off the platform. The crowd parts for him. No one touches him. No one quite knows how to be near a man who has just done that. He goes home to a house with 2 empty places in it. The morning is over. The forum begins slowly to fill with the ordinary noise of an ordinary day, the way a forum does, the way a river closes over a stone. By midday you would not know what had happened here. The stones do not keep it. Only the people do, and only for as long as people last. Brutus said nothing about it, then or after. There is no record of him ever speaking of his sons again. The silence is its own kind of record. Some men talk to bury a thing. Some men go quiet because there is nothing left that talking could move. He had built a thing out of a single word. The word had no body of its own. So he had to keep giving it his. First a costume, then a friend, now his sons. The word was beginning to cost everything a man has. And it was not finished asking. 5. The founder and the king's son. The king is not done. He never will be, while he breathes. A man who has been a king does not learn to be a citizen. He learns to be a king somewhere else, or he learns to be dead. Tarquinius is not ready for the second one. He cannot take Rome with words. The envoys failed. The plot is bones in the forum. So he goes back to the old argument, the one that does not need anyone to be persuaded. He raises an army. 2 cities give him men. Veii and Tarquinii, his own old place, the city his family came from. They have their own reasons. A king thrown out of one city is a warning to kings everywhere. The men who rule those towns do not like the warning. So they march for him, not for love, for the principle that the strong should keep what they hold. The 2 armies meet near the forest, the Arsian wood, a dark line of trees, and open ground in front of it. On that ground, the new republic goes to find out if it is real. The consuls lead, both of them, Valerius with the foot soldiers, Brutus with the horse. That is the part the design did not think through. The men who run the city are the men who stand at the front of it. The republic has not yet learned to keep its founders out of arrow range. It will. Not today. The cavalry meet first. They always do. They are faster and they are proud, and pride gets to the killing before sense does. Brutus rides out in front. Of course he does. He has spent a year being watched. He cannot now ride at the back. The man who would not look away from his son's deaths cannot now be careful with his own. He goes to the front because the front is where the watching is. And the watching is the only thing holding the new word together. Across the open ground, the enemy horse come on. And at the head of them, one rider knows exactly who he is looking at. Aaron's, the king's son, Tarquinius's blood. He sees the consul of Rome riding at the front of the Roman horse. He knows the face. He knows the name. And the name is the thing that drove his father out of the only city he ever wanted. The battle is happening all around. It does not matter. For these 2 men, there is only the strip of ground between them. And the thing waiting at the end of it. Aaron's puts his head down. He drives his horse straight at Brutus. He is not thinking about the line or the flank or the day. He is thinking about one man. He wants the founder. He wants to carry the founder's body back to his father. Here, this is the man, it is finished. Brutus sees him coming. He does not turn. He has never, in the whole of this story, turned away from a thing coming at him. He picks his spear and he rides to meet it. He has, somewhere in him, a thing he does not look at directly. It has only been a few days since he watched his sons die on his own order. A man who has done that is not afraid of much anymore. The worst thing has already happened, and he sat through it, and his hands shook and his face held. Compared to that, a spear is almost a kindness. A spear is fast. A spear does not require you to keep your voice level while it works. The consul rides at the enemy a little faster than a careful man would. And let the listener decide why. The ground between them shrinks. The hooves are the loudest thing in the world. The smell of the horses, the cold in the lungs, the shield strap biting the arm, the single fixed point of the other man's face getting larger and not slowing down. Neither of them is slowing down. That is the whole thing about this kind of meeting. The first man to flinch lives. Neither of them flinches. They strike at the same moment. Both spears go home. Both of them. There is no winner in the geometry of it. 2 men ride at each other with everything they have. Neither one gives way. The only possible result is the one that happens. Each spear finds the other man. Each man is driven through. The horses run on a few strides without them. Both of them fall. The founder and the king's son. The same second. The same patch of churned ground. The battle goes on. It does not stop for them. Battles do not. It will rage into the dusk. The accounts will argue forever about who won the day. A strange tale will grow up about a voice from the Arsian wood. A voice in the night, counting the dead, giving the edge to Rome. That is later. That is the kind of story that grows over a battlefield like grass. Here, on the ground, there is just Brutus. The noise is somewhere else now. The sky is very wide. He is looking at it, or he is looking at nothing, the way a man looks at the end. He does not see what he made. That is the thing. He built a word, residential publica, the public thing. He gave it his costume, his friend, his sons. And now he gives it the last thing he has. On a field, against a king's son. He will not live long enough to watch the word stand up and walk. He outlasted his sons by only a few days. The man who watched them die has followed them almost before the forum stones were clean. There is nothing grand about a man face up on cold ground with a spear through him. There is only the strangeness of it. He spent everything for a sentence. He died defending a sentence. And the sentence was not even finished being written. The fool, the founder, the father who would not look away. He has looked away from nothing his whole life. Now his eyes are open at the sky, and they are not looking at anything at all. Rome will carry him home. Rome will mourn him the way you mourn a founder. The women, the accounts say, wore mourning for him a full year, as for a father. He had avenged the honor of a woman with his whole life, and then with his death. That is the city's grief, and it is real, and it is also later. The ground does not know any of it. The ground only knows it has 2 more men on it tonight than it had this morning. One who wanted to give Rome back to a king. One who took it away from kings forever. They lie a few feet apart. From where the ground sits, there is no difference between them at all. The word goes on without the man who made it. That was always the point of a word. It is the one thing a man can build that does not need him to keep standing. He will not see it grow, but it does not need him to. He built it precisely so that it would not need anyone, including, in the end, himself. 6. The king finds a bigger king. The army at the Arsian Wood was the king's own strength. 2 cities, his blood and his old home. It was not enough. It cost him a son, and it did not get him a throne. So Tarquinius does the thing a small king does when his own arm fails. He goes looking for a bigger arm. He finds Lars Porsena. Porsena is king of Clusium, and Clusium is not Veii or Tarquinii. It is one of the great powers of Etruria. And Etruria in this age is the giant to the north of a young, raw Rome. When Porsena moves, the ground moves. Tarquinius does not come to him as a partner. He comes to him as a beggar with a good argument. The argument is the one that always works on kings. Tarquinius does not ask Porsena to love him. He asks Porsena to be afraid. A city that throws out its king and lives, he says, is a disease. Let it stand, and every king's own people will learn the lesson. They threw out one and the sky did not fall. Today it is my crown in the gutter. Tomorrow it is yours. You are not saving me. You are saving the idea of kings. Porsena listens. The argument is good because it is true. And there is the simpler thing underneath it, the thing kings rarely say out loud. A war against Rome is a chance to take Rome. A man does not need to be talked into a gift. He agrees. Etruria, in this age, is worth a moment. The Romans of this story know it in their bones. A listener might not. The Etruscans are the older, richer, finer civilization to the north. They have cities of stone when Rome is still half mud and timber. They have an alphabet and engineers and a navy. They have a way of reading the future in the livers of animals that even the Romans half believe in. Rome learned much of what it knows from them. How to drain a marsh. How to build an arch. How a king should dress. The student is now refusing to have a king at all. And the teacher is sending an army to correct the lesson. Now the scale changes. The Arsian Wood was a quarrel between neighbors. This is something else. This is the full weight of the strongest power in the region coming down a road. Toward a city that is 1 year old as a free thing. a city that has already buried its founder. The army that comes for Rome is not an angry exile and his 2 borrowed towns. It is Etruria. Rome hears it coming the way you hear weather. First a rumor, then a certainty, then the roads filling with people from the countryside, driving their animals ahead of them. They come inside the walls because the walls are the only thing left to be inside of. The city swells with frightened farmers and the smell of too many bodies in too small a space. The Romans go out to meet the army on the far side of the river. They hold a hill there, the Janiculum, high ground on the wrong bank of the Tiber, the bank that faces the enemy. If they can hold it, the enemy never reaches the water. They cannot hold it. Porsenna's men take the Janiculum. The hill falls, and when a hill like that falls, it does not fall slowly. The Roman line breaks, and a broken line on the wrong side of a river has only one thought left in it. It is the same thought in every man at once. The bridge. The men come off the hill not as an army but as a crowd with weapons it has stopped using. The fear is a physical thing now, a pressure at the back, a single direction. Behind them the Etruscans. Fresh, downhill, unhurried. The way a thing is unhurried when it knows the other thing is already running. Ahead of them, the only way home, the wooden bridge across the Tiber, the Pons Sublicius. A rout is not a battle. In a battle, a man faces the thing in front of him. In a rout, there is no front. There is only behind. And behind is everything. A man runs from it with his shield thrown away. The shield is weight, and weight is the difference between the river and the spear in the back. The road to the bridge is a single choked artery of men. An hour ago they were an army. Now they are just a current of bodies all moving one way. None of them able to stop even if they wanted to. The man behind would run them down. Fear has a shape on a day like this. The shape is a funnel, and the narrow end of it is the bridge. Rome sits on the near bank. The river is the city's last wall, the one that cannot be climbed or undermined, because it is moving water. But a wall is no wall at all if there is a door standing open in it. And the bridge is a door, a wide wooden door, laid flat across the only gap in the city's last defense. If the Etruscans reach the bridge before the Romans can close it, they do not have to besiege Rome. They walk into it, behind the fleeing men in the same press in the same minute. The bridge does not just lead to the city. For this 1 hour, the bridge is the city. Everything Brutus paid for comes down to this. The costume and the friend and the sons. His own life on the Arsian ground. It all comes down to one question. Can a wooden bridge be taken apart faster than an army can cross it? And the army is already on the bridge road. Hold on one figure at the near end of the bridge, where the planks meet the Roman bank. A man is standing there. He is not running. Everyone else is moving one way toward the city, fast. This one man has turned around. He is facing the other way, facing the hill, facing what is coming down off it. His name is Horatius. They will remember him by the other name, the one that means he had only one good eye, cockles. He is looking at the bridge and then at the river under it and then at the army coming on. He is doing a sum in his head, a sum no one else has stopped long enough to do. The sum is simple. The bridge has to come down. It will take time to come down. That time has to be bought from the enemy, in the only currency the enemy understands. He turns and starts shouting at the men with the axes. 7. One man at the bridge. The plan is the worst kind of plan. It is the kind that only works if one man agrees to die. Cockles says it out loud, fast, because there is no time to say it slowly. Cut the bridge. Tear it up behind me. I will hold the front. You will not have long. Take as long as you can. The men with the axes understand. They do not like it. There is nothing to like. But the choice is one bridge and one man or one bridge and one city. That is not really a choice. He plants himself at the far end, the end that faces the enemy. The wood under his feet is the last thing standing between Etruria and Rome. He is standing on the worst inch of it on purpose. Two men come and stand with him. Their names matter because men did this. Furius Lartius, Titus Herminius. They are not ordered to. They look at the one man turning to face an army alone. And something in them will not let them walk to the safe bank and watch. So there are three men shoulder to shoulder at the mouth of the bridge. The bridge is just wide enough that 3 is all the front the enemy can bring against them at once. That is the whole trick of it, and Cockles saw it in a glance. The bridge is narrow. Etruria is wide. All those thousands of men cannot come at 3 men 3,000 at a time. They can only come 3 at a time. The bridge takes the army's greatest strength, its size, and throws most of it away. The river does the math for Rome. Numbers do not matter on a thing this narrow. Only the front rank matters. And the front rank is only ever as wide as 3 shields. The far bank goes quiet. It is the quiet that comes before. The army that took the hill has stopped to look at the thing on the bridge. 3 men. A wind off the river. The smell of churned mud and the dead behind them and the cold coming up off the water. Cockles breathes it in. He has been a soldier long enough to know this quiet. It does not last. The enemy comes. The world shrinks now to the length of a spear. There is no hill to watch this from. There is no after. There is the wood under the feet, the men in front, and nothing past the reach of an arm. The first ones come on confident. Why would they not? They have just taken a hill and broken an army, and they are looking at 3 men. 3. A joke. A thing to be brushed aside on the way into a city. The first spear comes at Cockles high. He takes it on the shield. The weight of it travels down his arm into his shoulder and his hip and the planks under him. The whole bridge feels it. He pushes the point offline. The man behind it is already too close. He kills him. It is not clean. A spear point does not go into a man the way a knife goes into bread. Catches. It is loud and it is slow. The man does not fall politely out of the way. He folds onto the bridge. Now there is a body where Cockles needs to put his foot. That is the next problem. There is no time to feel anything about the last one. The man who folds had a name his mother used. He was thinking half a breath ago that this was easy, that the 3 on the bridge were already dead. He was right about 2 of them. He was wrong about himself. The thought does not finish. The bridge comes up to meet his face and the next man steps over him without looking down. That next man is a spear length from Cockles now. He has watched the man in front of him die. He does not slow. There is an army at his back and it pushes. A man pushed from behind cannot stop, even when his legs want to. He comes onto Cockles' shield. He gets 1 blow in. It glances off the rim. Then Herminius takes him from the side, where his shield is not. He goes down on top of the first one. 2 bodies now. The wall of the dead has started to build itself. Behind Cockles, the sound he is fighting for. Axes on wood. Iron bars under planks. The whole bridge groaning as men tear at it from the safe end. Every groan is a piece of it gone. Every piece gone is a piece the enemy will not cross. He cannot turn to look. Turning is dying. He listens to the bridge come apart behind him with his back, and he holds the front with everything else. The 2 beside him are doing the same thing. 3 men on a bridge are not 1 man 3 times. They are a thing that has to move together. When the man on the left steps to take a blow, the other 2 feel the planks shift. They adjust without looking. They have never trained for this. No one trains for this. There is no drill for 3 men holding a collapsing bridge against a nation. They learn it in the doing in seconds with their lives as the cost of learning slowly. The bridge moves under them like the deck of a ship. It moves more with every piece torn loose behind. And they ride it, and they keep the line 3 shields wide. 3 shields, 3 men. The enemy comes and comes. A second falls. The third. The bodies are a wall now, low and terrible. And the wall helps. The next man has to climb his own dead to reach the 3. A climbing man is a slow man. And a slow man is a dead man on this bridge. From above it is a strange small thing. A brown river in flood, swollen and fast, carrying the day's rain to the sea. A great army stopped on the near bank. Thousands of men packed and useless. All that weight funneling down to a strip of wood no wider than a cart. And on the wood 3 shields against a country. The river bending past them all, indifferent, doing the only thing a river does, which is leave. Then the height is gone, and it is the spear's length again. Time does the thing time does in this. It stops meaning anything. There is the next spear. There is the next face. There is the sound at his back. That is the entire world. It has been the entire world for either a minute or an hour. Cockles could not tell you which. Counting is a thing you do when part of you is somewhere safe. No part of him is anywhere safe. Then a hand on his shoulder from behind. The 2 men. The bridge is almost gone. There is room for them to get back across, but only just and only now. Go, he tells them. They do not want to. He does not argue. He shoves them. Go. There is no room for 3 on what is left. And 3 men cannot die for what 1 man can hold for the last minute. Go. They go. They run the narrowing planks and reach the bank and turn around, and now it is 1 man. 1 man at the mouth of the bridge. Behind him a gap of broken wood widening over the river. In front of him an army that has just watched 2 of the 3 leave. And the strange thing happens. The thing Cockles maybe half counted on and maybe did not. The enemy hesitates. They do not rush him. They could. He is 1 man. They are an army. They could swarm him in a breath and be done. But they do not, and it is not mercy. It is the oldest animal thing there is. A man who has decided to die is a different kind of dangerous. Every soldier in that front rank can feel it coming off him like heat. They have killed men who wanted to live. Those men are easy. This is not that. This man wants something else. And not one of them wants to be the one who finds out what it costs. The one who learns the price of giving it to him. So for a moment, a held breath of a moment, the strongest army in Etruria stands still. Still in front of 1 Roman on a bridge that is coming apart. And does nothing. Then the bridge goes. The last of it tears free behind him. The sound is enormous. A long wooden scream and then a crash and then water. The way home is gone. He is alone on the broken edge with the river under him and the army in front. The field goes quiet. Cockles turns to the river. The Tiber is in flood, brown and fast and cold, swollen with the season, carrying branches and the day's rain, and now this. He says a word to the river, not a speech, a word. Father Tiber, take a soldier and his arms in your good keeping. Something like that. The accounts give him a line and the line is fine. But the truth is just a man on an edge talking to water. Talking to water because there is no one else left to talk to. Then he jumps. He goes in armored. Bronze and iron and a shield. The weight of a day's fighting still on him. Into a river in flood. The weight takes him down at once. The cold is a fist. The world goes brown and loud and then quiet in the way deep water is quiet. The armor wants him. It is doing exactly what armor does, which is keep a man heavy, only now heavy is the enemy. Arrows come down into the water around him. He can see them, brief silver lines stopping in the brown, slowing, drifting. The enemy on the bank, robbed of the bridge, robbed of the city. throwing what they have at the one man who took it from them. He comes up. He gets his head into the air, and the air is the best thing that has ever happened to anyone. He swims. It is not graceful. There is nothing graceful about a man in armor swimming a flood. It is a slow, ugly, furious thing. Every stroke a decision not to sink. The river dragging at him. The far bank not getting closer the way he wants it to. And then it does get closer. And then the current, which has fought him the whole way, seems to change its mind. Turns him. Carries him in toward the Roman side. Call it the god or do not. The river took him home. The way a river sometimes does. For no reason it owes anyone. Hands reach down. They pull him out. He is heavier than a man should be, full of water and armor. It takes more than one of them to land him on the bank. He lies there. He is breathing. He is on the right side of the river. The bridge is gone. The army is on the wrong side of a flood with no way across. And the city behind him is still a city, still free, still holding the word a dead man gave it. The moment is worth it. The sky is doing nothing. It is just sky. His chest goes up and down too fast. The water runs off his armor and back toward the river it came from. Around him men are shouting. But the shouting is a long way off. The way the world is a long way off when you have just been somewhere it could not follow. He has held a bridge and crossed a flood and lived. His body does not know yet that it has done something men will repeat for 2,000 years. His body only knows it is cold and it is breathing and the planks are not under it anymore. That is enough. For now that is the whole of it. A man on a riverbank, alive who did not expect to be. The accounts say he was hurt. A wound in the thigh, some of them. A limp he kept the rest of his life. The kind of limp that means a man cannot run anymore. Earned by a man who once would not run when running was the only sensible thing to do. They gave him as much land as he could plow in a day. And a statue. And the rest of his life walking slow. He had bought the city its last wall back. The moving one. The one that cannot be climbed. He bought it by spending a bridge and very nearly himself. The Tiber is the city's wall again. It is a wall again because of a few minutes. A few minutes when one man stood at the only door in it, and would not move until the door was unmade behind him. He gets his breath. The river goes by. It does not know what it just did. It never does. 8. The siege and the hunger. The bridge is gone. The river holds. And nothing is over. Porsenna is not Tarquinius. He does not throw himself at a wall and bleed. He is a patient king with a large army and time. So he does the patient thing. He does not attack the city. He sits down in front of it. A siege is the opposite of a battle. A battle is loud and short. A siege is quiet and long, and it kills more people, and almost none of them with a weapon. The Etruscans hold the far bank and the river road. They take the high ground around the city. They cut the ways in. Food comes into a city the way blood comes into a body, by many small roads. Porsenna closes them one at a time, and the city begins slowly to starve. You do not starve all at once. That is the cruelty of it. First the markets thin. Then the prices climb past what a poor man has. Then the city is eating things it does not name out loud. The rich last longer the way the rich always do. But hunger is the great leveler in the end. Comes for the fine houses too, only later, only slower. Which is its own kind of insult to everyone in the small ones. The body learns the siege before the mind admits it. The sleep gets thin. The cold gets in deeper than it used to. A man does a day's work on half a day's bread. He finds the work has gotten heavier, or he has gotten lighter, and he cannot tell which. Children stop running in the streets. That is the sound a starving city makes. Not crying. Quiet. The quiet of small bodies saving what they have. The smell of a city that has stopped throwing food away because there is none to throw. The way a market square looks at midday with nothing in it. The mothers who eat last and say they have already eaten. The old people who eat last and do not say anything at all. They simply give the bread to the young ones, with a steadiness that is its own kind of speech. A siege does not look like war. It looks like a city getting very quiet and very thin and very patient, in the dark, for weeks. The city does not break. That is the thing the accounts are proud of, and they are right to be. A starving city that does not open its gates is a kind of miracle. And the miracle is made of nothing but ordinary people. People deciding one more day not to be ruled by a king again. They are paying for the word now. The word that a dead founder gave them. They are paying for it with their stomachs. That is a harder coin than a battlefield. A battlefield is over by dusk. A hunger is not over for weeks. There is a thing the city does not say out loud. But every hungry person in it has done the sum. Open the gate, and the hunger ends tonight. Take the king back, and there is bread in the morning. The price of the word is sitting in every empty stomach, asking the same question, every hour. And every hour the city answers it the same way. It does not open the gate. It is hungry one more day. That is what holding a word costs. It is not paid once. It is paid every hour by people who could end the pain at any moment and choose not to. But weeks of it wear a city thin. And in a thin city, someone always starts to think the unthinkable thing. His name is Gaius Mucius. He is young. He is no one in particular, which in this story is almost a qualification. He looks at the siege the way cockles looked at the bridge. He does a sum no one else has stopped to do. The whole weight of this rests on one man. The hunger, the dying, the slow grinding of a city to dust. All of it rests on Porsenna. Take away the king and the army has no quarrel. Take away the king and the borrowed war goes home. One man is the cause of all of it, and one man can be reached by one knife. It is a terrible idea. It is also, he decides, the only fast one. He does not just go. That is the thing that marks him as a Roman and not a murderer. He goes to the Senate first. He stands in front of the fathers of the city, the hungry fathers of a hungry city, and he asks their leave to cross the river and kill a king. He puts it plainly, I am going to die either way. We all are if this goes on. Let me spend my death on the man who is the reason for it, instead of wasting it on a slow week in a starving street. The Senate gives him leave. They are careful men, and this is not a careful act, but they are out of careful options. A city eats its principles last. They are getting close to the last. What he is choosing is not a fight. He knows this. A fight is two men with a chance each. This is not that. He is choosing to walk into an army and do one thing. And the one thing will almost certainly be the last thing he does. He has thought it all the way through to the end. The way the woman in Cloelia thought hers through. The way the man on the bridge thought his. There is a kind of person this city keeps producing in its worst hours. The kind who looks at the math and sees their own death sitting in the answer. And does the sum anyway because the city comes out ahead. No one teaches it. It just keeps happening in the dark when the gate could be opened and is not. Mucius hides a blade under his clothes, against the skin, where it will not show. He goes down to the river, the same Tiber that swallowed a bridge and carried a man home. He crosses it the way you cross a thing that has already decided one man's fate and might decide yours. He goes into the enemy camp. He is one young man with one knife. He is walking into the largest army Rome has ever seen. He is looking for one face in a crowd of thousands. And he means to end it. 9. The hand in the fire. The camp does not know him. That is the only armor he has, and for a while it works. He is one young man among thousands. No one stops a young man in an army camp. There are young men everywhere. He moves through it with the blade flat against his skin. His face is arranged into nothing. He goes looking for the king. The camp is the thing that wants to give him away, and he has to walk through all of it. The smell first, smoke and animals and too many men and the latrine trenches at the edge. The languages he does not speak all around him, none of them his. The blade is cold against his ribs, and then it is warm from his own skin. He is sure, with the certainty of fear, that everyone can see the line of it under his clothes. No one can. No one looks twice at one more young man with a closed face. The thing that protects him is the same thing that protects the slave at the wall. He is beneath notice. An army does not see the people it is not afraid of. He finds a problem. He does not know what the king looks like. He has never seen Porsenna. Few Romans have, so he watches for the man everyone else is watching. He finds a platform, and two men on it in good clothes, and a crowd in front of them. One of the two is clearly the important one. Everyone is bringing things to him and waiting on his word. It is the day the soldiers are paid. That is the thing that kills the wrong man. The clerk is the one handling the money, so the clerk is the one the soldiers crowd around, the one giving orders, the one dressed nearly as well as the king beside him. To a man who has never seen either face, the busy one looks like the powerful one. Power, from a distance, looks like whoever everyone is facing. Mucius makes his move. He gets close. The blade comes out fast and goes in clean. The busy man drops, and the camp turns. Mucius understands in one cold drop of his stomach. The man at his feet is not the king. The king is the quiet one, the one who was not handling money, the one still standing very much alive, now looking directly at him. They take him. Of course they take him. He is one man in the middle of an army. He has just killed the wrong target in front of everyone. There is no second knife. There is no fighting his way out. There never was. He knew that crossing the river. He did not plan to come back. They drag him to Porsenna. The king is angry, and the king is curious, which is a worse combination for a prisoner than anger alone. He wants to know who sent this boy. He wants to know if there are others. He has an army and a siege and a city nearly starved. And now a Roman has walked into his own camp and tried to put a knife in him. That is the kind of thing that takes the certainty out of a man's sleep. So he threatens the fire. There is fire nearby. There is always fire in a camp. An altar, a brazier, something burning for the gods or for the cold. Porsenna points at it. Tell me who sent you and who else is coming. Tell me, or I will have you put into that slowly until you do. It is the oldest threat there is. Pain, applied in increasing amounts until the body says whatever the body needs to say to make it stop. It works on almost everyone. That is why it is old. Mucius does not answer. What Mucius does instead is the thing this whole episode has been walking toward. He looks at the king. He looks at the fire. And then he walks to the altar himself, and he puts his own right hand into the flames. The hand goes into the fire. The fire does what fire does to flesh. It is the worst thing a body can feel. The body has every reflex built into it to pull back, to scream, to do anything but hold still. Mucius holds still. That is the entire thing. That is what stops the breath of every man watching. The pain is total and his face does not change. He does not pull back. He does not make a sound that the fire pulls out of him. He stands there and lets his own right hand burn in front of the king. He keeps his eyes on the king's eyes the whole time, as if the hand belongs to someone else and is no concern of his. The watching men go silent. Soldiers who have seen everything a battlefield can do to a body have not seen this. A wound is taken. This is given. A man holding his own hand in a fire by choice is a thing outside their experience. frightens them more than any weapon. A weapon they understand. This they do not. Mucius speaks. Short. This is how little a Roman body is worth to a Roman, he says. Watch. And then the lie that wins the war. I am the first, he says. There are 300 of us. We drew lots. I lost or I won, depending how you count it. The next one is already on his way to you, and the one after him. You cannot pay enough soldiers to watch every shadow. Not for 300 men who have all agreed to do what I just did. It is not true. There are not 300. There is one young man with a ruined hand and a great deal of nerve. But the number does not have to be real to work. It only has to be unkillable. Porsenna can defeat an army. He cannot defeat a number that lives in his own head at night. He can win every battle and still lose every hour of sleep. Lose it to the thought of the next quiet young man in the crowd at payday. Porsenna does the arithmetic. He is a king, and a king is, before anything else, a man who counts what things cost. The city has not broken. The bridge cost him a crossing. This boy has cost him his certainty. And now there are, supposedly, 299 more boys, each one carrying a knife and the willingness to burn his own hand off rather than be afraid. What is the city worth against that? The king is the one this whole scene was aimed at, and he is doing exactly what the boy needed him to do. A king does not fear a battle. A battle has odds, and a king with the larger army likes his odds. What a king fears is the thing without odds. The knife he cannot see. The young man in the crowd who is already willing to die. Which means there is nothing left to threaten him with. You cannot frighten a man who has decided to burn his own hand off. And if there are 300 of those, then every quiet face in every crowd is a question. A question the king cannot answer for the rest of this campaign. He would have to win the war 300 times. He would have to be lucky 300 times. The boy only has to be lucky once. That is the trade Mucius offered, in the fire without saying it. One hand now, against the king's every night for the rest of the siege. The king has done this kind of math his whole life. He knows a bad bargain when he is handed one. The siege was always a question of what Rome could endure. The boy has quietly changed the question to what the king can endure. And the answer the king is realizing is less than he thought. He has the boy released. He is, the accounts say, half in fear and half in admiration. And a king who admires his enemy is a king who is already most of the way to going home. He even sends Mucius back across the river under escort. The way you handle something you have decided not to touch again. Mucius walks back into Rome with one hand. They give him a name for it. Scaevola, the left-handed. A name that is really a sentence. This is the man who has only a left hand. He gave the other one to the city. He gave it in front of a king. He gave it to buy a number that was not real and a piece that was. The burned hand, wrapped now, held against the body. The young face, which did not change in the fire and does not change now. And the thing that changed instead, which was not in Mucius at all. It was in the king's eyes, across the river, the moment the hand went into the flame. Something a city under siege could not have bought with any number of soldiers. It was given for free by one young man. A young man who decided his right hand was a fair price for a lie. The fire is out now. The altar is just an altar again. But the camp on the far bank is quieter than it was. And the quiet is the sound of a king beginning to wonder. Wondering whether this war is worth what it is starting to cost him. 10. The girl in the river. A hand in a fire and a number that did not exist. Together they did what the bridge could not. They moved a king's mind. Porsenna offers terms. This is itself the victory, though it does not look like one yet. A king who came to take a city is now offering to talk to it. He came to put a man back on a throne. Instead, he is bargaining with the people who threw the man out. The throne is not coming back. Both sides know it now. The talking is only about how the war ends, not whether Rome stays free. He asks for hostages. That is the old way. You do not trust a peace, so you take the children of the people making it. You hold them, and the peace holds as long as you hold them. Young Romans go across the river into the Etruscan camp. Sons and daughters of good families. The price of a quiet that the city badly needs. Among them is a girl named Cloelia. The accounts do not tell you much about her at first. A girl, young, one of a group of young hostages in an enemy camp. On the far side of a river in the keeping of a king. She is supposed to be a piece on a board. A thing held to make the grown men behave. She has a different idea. She watches the camp the way cockles watched the bridge and Mucius watched the crowd. She is the third in the story to do the thing the others did. She looks at an impossible situation and quietly starts doing the arithmetic of getting out of it. The river is right there. The river that took a bridge and gave back a swimmer. The same brown water, the same far bank, the same Rome on the other side of it. She gathers the other girls. The planning is the brave part and no one ever tells it. The crossing is loud and fast and over in minutes. The deciding is slow and quiet. It happens in a tent in an enemy camp. In whispers among frightened children. With a girl no older than they are telling them it can be done. She has to convince them. She has to pick the hour. She has to know which guards sleep and which do not. She learned it by being a girl no one bothered to watch. The same invisibility that protected the slave at the wall. The strongest thing about her is not that she can swim a flood. It is that she looked at a camp full of grown soldiers and decided the river was the safer enemy. And this one is no gentler for being done by girls instead of soldiers. They slip out of the camp. They get to the bank. The Tiber is wide and cold and fast, the way it has been this whole episode. The river that keeps deciding who lives. They go in. It is not a story of grace. It is arms and cold and current. The bank not getting closer fast enough. The same as it was for the man in armor. Only these are girls in wet clothes. No shields to weigh them down. No shields to hide behind either. Arrows come, the accounts say, from the camp behind them into the water around them. They swim through it. The current pulls. The far bank holds still and then, slowly comes closer. They reach Rome. All of them. The girl led them across and the girl did not lose one. The story is not done being complicated. Porsenna is furious. And he is right to be, by the rules of the thing. Peace was made. Hostages were given. Hostages are a promise in the shape of people. And the promise has just swum across a river in the dark. He sends to Rome. You have broken the terms. Send her back. And here Rome does the thing that is the whole point of the new word. It sends her back. This is the Republic's first real test of its own honor. And no one is watching to make it pass. Rome could keep her. She is a hero. The city loves her. Sending a brave girl back into an enemy camp is a hard, ugly thing to do. But the city made a promise. And a city that breaks its promises the moment they cost something is not a republic. It is just a king with extra steps. So Rome keeps faith with a king it does not trust, over a girl it loves. The keeping of the promise is the only thing that makes the promise worth anything. They send her back across the river. And now the king does the surprising thing. Porsenna has spent this whole campaign meeting Romans who will not behave the way an enemy is supposed to. A man held a bridge and would not run. A man burned his own hand and would not flinch. And now a girl swam a river and led others through it. And her city gave her back rather than break its word. He has been losing the whole time. Losing to a kind of person he did not know existed in the numbers he was counting. Something in him gives way. Not in fear this time, in respect. A king meets a great many enemies in a life of war. Almost all of them want the same things he wants. Land, gold, to live. He knows how to fight men who want to live. A man who wants to live can be made to choose between living and winning. He will usually choose living. That is how sieges work. That is how most wars end. But this campaign has handed him 3 people in a row who would not make that choice. They wanted something he could not take away by threatening their lives. They had already spent their lives in their own heads before he ever got to them. He has no weapon against that. No king does. And a wise king, faced with a thing he cannot defeat, learns to honor it instead. Honoring it is the only move left that does not make him look small. He does not punish her. He praises her. He says she has outdone the men, the famous men, the bridge and the fire, and he means it. And then he gives her a gift that is also a test, the way the best gifts are. He tells her she may take some of the other hostages home with her. Her choice. Whichever ones she names are free. She could choose anyone. She chooses the youngest. The boys too small to defend themselves in a camp full of soldiers. The ones a long captivity would mark the deepest. The ones least able to swim a river on their own. The strongest hostage in Rome uses her one prize to free the weakest. She does the math the other way from how a king would do it. A king frees the valuable ones. She frees the ones who need it most. Porsenna lets them go. And then, not long after, he ends it. He pulls his army back from the river. He goes home to Clusium. The siege is over. The hunger is over. Tarquinius does not get his throne. Not now, not ever. Not with this king's help. The last Etruscan effort to put a king back in Rome packs up its tents and leaves. The king did not lose to an army. Rome's army broke on the first hill. He lost to 3 people and a word. A man on a bridge. A hand in a fire. A girl in a river. Between them they were worth more than the whole defeated army on the Janiculum. Because what they spent was not numbers. It was the thing the new word was made of. The king found he had no answer to it. And a king with no answer goes home. Rome will remember the girl. They put up a statue, the accounts say. A girl on a horse on the sacred road. Which is a strange and wonderful thing for a city this old and this male to have done. A girl mounted, in bronze, on the road everyone walks. Centuries of Romans will pass it without knowing quite why a girl is up there on a horse. And the answer is this. Once, when the city was very young and very nearly lost, she swam a river the men were afraid of. And then she gave her reward to children. The river goes by under the place where the bridge was. It is just a river again. It has stopped deciding things for now. It carried a man to safety and a girl to safety. It carried a great many other things out to sea without preference. It does not remember any of them, and it never will, but the city does, for a while, as long as cities last. Chapter 11. What holds when the king is gone? Porsenna is gone. The tents on the far bank come down. The road north fills with an army going home. Then it is empty. Then it is just a road again. Tarquinius will not come back. He tries later in small ways the way an old king tries. None of them work. He dies in exile, far from the only city he ever wanted. And the word he hated lives on without him. Rex, king. The thing Rome will not say. The word passed its first test. That is the thing to hold on to, standing here at the end. A single word, residential publica, the public thing, was set against a real army with real iron, and it held. Not because it was strong, because the people who carried it were. But the man who made the word did not see it pass. Brutus is in the ground. He went into it almost as soon as he had built the thing. On a field, against a king's son, the 2 of them dying in the same breath. He gave the word his costume, his friend, his sons, and then his life. He did not get to keep any of it. And he did not get to watch the word grow up. The men who saved it after him are marked by it. The one who held the bridge does not walk fast anymore. The wound in his leg saw to that. He spends the rest of his life moving slowly through a city he once moved quickly enough to save. The one who burned his hand lives the rest of his life with one. Every cup, every door, every small task of an ordinary day done with the wrong hand. Because the right one is a thing he gave to a fire in front of a king. The girl grows up. The statue on the sacred road does not. She stays a girl on a horse forever. The way the dead and the bronze stay whatever they were at the end. There is a mercy in their wounds that the founder did not get. They lived. They got to see the city go on. The man with the limp watched his grandchildren walk faster than he could. The man with one hand learned to do everything left-handed and lived long enough that the doing became ordinary. They paid with a leg, a hand, a year of a girl's life. Brutus paid with all of it, and the difference is that he never got to see the receipt. They defended a city they could walk back into. He defended a sentence, and the sentence had no walls yet, and he died before it grew any. The lucky ones, in this story, are the ones who only lost a piece of themselves. The city is alive. That is the plain fact under everything. The river runs where the bridge was. The hills are the same hills. The morning comes the way it came when there was a king. The way it will come when everyone alive today is also in the ground. The light does not know the difference. It finds the same roofs. But a city that has just been saved starts, very quietly, to ask a question. It is a small question at first. Almost nothing. The men who died on the Janiculum and on the bridge. The ones who went hungriest in the siege. The ones with the least to begin with. They start to look at the men who lost the least. And they begin to wonder. We held the line. We gave the most because we had the least cushion to give it from. This free city we saved. Whose is it exactly? Is it ours or is it theirs and we only guard it? No one says it loudly yet. It is the kind of thing said in the dark between people who have nothing. The kind of thing that does not become dangerous until enough people are saying it on the same night. The arithmetic of it is simple and it is the kind that does not go away. The men who own the land are the men who sit in the Senate. The men who fought on the bridge and starved in the siege are the men who own little or nothing. They have just been told they are free. Free is a fine word. But free does not fill a granary. Free does not forgive a debt. And a poor man who cannot pay what he owes can still be taken. Taken and bound and made to work it off. Free city or not. The word saved them from a king. It has not yet saved them from each other. A city has learned it can throw out the powerful when the powerful become unbearable. That is a lesson that does not stay pointed only at kings. The water goes by the place where the bridge was. There is no bridge there now. There will be one again. There always is. Rome will rebuild the wooden bridge and keep rebuilding it. And there will be a rule for centuries. It must be built and repaired without iron. Only wood. Only the old way. As if the city is keeping a promise to a day it half remembers and cannot quite name. The river does not care about the rule. The river goes by. It went by while a founder bled on a field and never saw what he made. It went by while a man held its near bank with 3 shields. And then he jumped into it in armor and lived. It went by while a hand burned on the far side. And a girl swam back across in the dark. The smallest children behind her. Carried all of it the same way. Downstream, out, gone. And it is going by right now in the dark. Past a city that is free and does not yet know what that is going to cost it. The king is gone. The thing that comes next is not a king. It is the city, turning to look at itself, and not entirely liking what it sees. That is later. The river does not tell it. Rivers never do. Writer's note: I do not read Brutus's order as justice. Justice does not need a father to watch his sons die to prove it works. He had built a thing out of a single word. The word had no body yet, so he gave it his sons. Then he gave it himself on a field against a king's son. He never saw what the word became. He died defending a sentence. The men on the bridge were luckier. They had something to defend that they could see. Brutus only had the idea of it. He paid for the idea in full. Next time, a hill outside the city. The whole common people of Rome, walking out the gate, deciding to leave it empty behind them.